Hey guys, hi, welcome back once again. My name is Vaishali, and today I'd like to talk about the unexamined habits. Well, as we all must have heard at some point in time or the other, that we are creatures of habit, that it's our habits that makes or breaks us, which in my view to some extent sounds paradoxical, which even to some extent sounds ridiculous. Because if we are the creators of our habits, then how is it that our habits start to dictate our lives? How is it that at some point in time we lose autonomy over our habits? Which invariably also tells us that our habits become our habitat, our dwelling place, our familiar environment in which we slip back to as a default. We get so tuned into our habits and they get so automated that we are not even aware of them, that we unconsciously keep living them day after day after day after years. Just like I said the word unconsciously, because that's something that I have repeatedly heard over the last few years over and over and over again, until I become aware of that to be able to catch myself repeating the same habit, repeating the same thing that I have heard or done over and over again. I cannot address it as non-conscious or non-consciously. Our habits, which have also become our habitats where we dwell in, where we stay, where we return to, which is 97 to 98% operating through the subconscious or the non-conscious, also becomes a part of our personal identity, thereby a personality, which in fact is our experienced personal reality, repeated time and time again, at times more subconsciously and non-consciously than consciously. So let's take up an example as to how our habits become our identities. How do we even identify with our habits as our personality, as who we are? So say if we have used our right hand for most parts of our life as a dominant functional hand, we quite naturally identify ourselves as right-handed person. Or we even go on to say that I am right-handy. So the thing that we have practiced for so long, which is using our right hand, now becomes I am right-handy. And if somebody asked us to start using our non-dominant hand a lot more compared to the dominant hand, it would require much more effort. It would require much more focus. It would require much more awareness. Likewise, if we've used our leg for standing for most parts of our lives, standing on hand would seem very difficult. And so quite naturally, as a default, as a habit that has been practiced for so many years, we would naturally slip back to what we are most familiar with the system that we have operated for so very long. And quite on an autopilot where we actually do not have to think about it a lot, wherein we do not have to give a concentrated focus towards changing that activity, towards changing our operating system. And it's not just with our hands or our legs, it's with almost everything in life, the way we address ourselves. When someone says, I'm not very good with communication, I'm not very good with expressing myself, what they are just saying is that they have operated most of their lives like that. On the other hand, when somebody says that they are very good with words, that they are very good with communication, that they are good with expressing themselves, or even when somebody says that I tend to be a little dramatic at times in the way how I express myself, that's also their habituated, practiced default setting. Just like Oprah had said that she had the disease to please, essentially meaning that she was a people pleaser at one point in time, wherein she had a hard time saying no to people because she wanted to be perceived as a nice person. She wanted people to like her for always saying yes, for always extending a helping hand, till she realized that she overextending herself in almost every domain was creating resentment, not only within herself for herself, but it was also creating resentment towards the others, towards those who came to ask for something. And in the beginning, to be able to curate the habit to say no would have naturally not been easy. For firstly, that was not her habituated identity, because quite likely through her beliefs at that point in time, people who said no were mean people, were not nice people. Which kind of points out about three aspects to me, at least at this point in time. The first being that she had to break down her belief system. The earlier belief system which told her that nice people or good people did not say no. That niceness or saying no did not have anything to do with each other. The second entailed that her identity would then shift with regards to her being perceived as nice or not nice, with her own understanding of what niceness and goodness was all about, which invariably also meant that the time she started to say no, when she actually wanted to say no, she would have lost out on a lot of people. She would have lost out on a lot of relationships that she probably held dear to her, that she probably would have felt a sense of abandonment by those people whom she thought she had a relationship with when she started to say no, when she started to address her dis-ease to please, which of course would not have been easy and pain-free. And the third aspect of her habituated self works more on physiological, more on survival levels. The part of the nervous system, the part of the brain that is designed especially just for survival, wants to conserve energy because conserving energy entails its survival in the wild. The part of the nervous system that we still carry with us after millions of years of being on this planet wants to slip back to what it has known, what it has done for so long, because that actually entails that it's conserving energy. For learning anything new or doing anything new demands extra energy, demands extra focus, exactly like learning to say ABCD from Z to A, like learning to function with our non-dominant hand. All of these new activities in the beginning for a small span of time seem very exciting, but we naturally slip back, we naturally default to the setting that we are most familiar with, to the setting that we are most accustomed to the setting that we are most habituated with, to the setting that has made its habitat in all of us. Not consciously, but subconsciously, non-consciously. Similar to the ways when COVID had taken over the world, where we wished that we could return back to our past normal, to what we had grown accustomed to as normal, to what we had been habituated to. Because that newness was creating a lot of distress, both within and outside. Over decades and centuries, we've gotten used to running a very fast-paced life, like actually running on a treadmill at a faster pace. And when COVID hit, it demanded us to slow down, actually really slow down. It asked us to stop. And stopping felt difficult when running had been our habituated identity, when running had been our habituated self. So while the earth healed and a lot of animals came to life, many of us actually felt scared and dead inside. Which reminds me of two quotes which I'll be paraphrasing. One by Albert Einstein, wherein he said, "We should question our intelligence if we keep repeating the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different outcomes," which invariably points towards habits formation, which have been generated, crafted, and created by providing the same information repeated over time and time again, which builds our subconscious, our non-conscious. And if we want and desire different outcomes, as Dr. Joe Dispenza would say, you need to break the habit of being you. And if I could add to that, I'd say we need to break the habit of the idea of being who we think we are, who we think we should be, who we think we are supposed to be. And since researchers tell us that it takes anywhere from 18 to 254 days to form a new habit consciously, we need to provide new information constantly. Because it's easier to slip back into our comfortable zone, into a comfortable identity, into the comfortable habit that we have habited inhabited for so long. And just like every addiction, we even get addicted to our habituated self, wherein slipping back is quite natural, is also normal. But do we wish to upgrade ourselves, or do we wish to keep playing the repeated same old over and over again? Do we wish to keep expressing and suppressing ourselves in the same old familiar ways? Do we wish to keep showing up and not showing up in similar ways? And unless we examine and re-examine our habits which have become a bigger part of our subconscious and our non-conscious, will keep creating our lives. And it'll be quite difficult to understand if we are creating our habits or our habits have kept us enslaved. And I personally find unexamined habits both disturbing and scary. Do you find it too? Let me have your take on that, and I will see you once again the next week. Till then, stay tuned in. And guys, if you do like the contextual content of these videos, please do like, share, and subscribe.